Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you are joining us for today's live stream of From Local to Legendary. So whether you're promoting a hidden gem of a town, a unique event, or one-of-a-kind destination, you are in the right spot today. We're going to be diving into PR strategies that can help take your brand from being the best-kept secret to a buzzworthy sensation. So we are so excited to have Danielle here today. And in just a moment, we're going to let her take the stage. But before we do, we want to be able to do these webinars without some key supporters and sponsors. And so we would like for Bobby, if you're ready to take the stage and tell everyone a little bit about Visit Kearney and what makes you guys such a great organization.
Sure, I would love to. Thanks for giving me a chance to tell you all a little bit more about what we do. So I am with Visit Kearney. I'm our marketing coordinator. So we get to work with all things Kearney, from special events to our arts and culture, our downtown, our new sportsplex. So a wide variety of things. And I just want to encourage everyone to use our website, pass it along to friends who may be traveling to the area, our events calendar. We try to add everything happening in the Kearney kind of area. We hit some Minden things, Ravenna things, and things in there too. And people can always add their events. If you guys have events that would be happening at your business or organization, that would make sense to be on there. We do a weekly email, so also encourage you to subscribe to that and then just follow along to what we're doing on our social media channels. And one last little piece is our Visit Kearney guide. I should have grabbed it. It is a yellow guidebook, and I designed that, and it really covers all of Kearney. So if those are something that you'd want at your business or could give out to potential employees or clients and things like that, those are made to promote Kearney and this area, and we're happy to share those with everyone that wants one.
Thank you so much. And if someone's interested, we'll just make sure either stop by their office, right? Reach out to them on their website, or when in doubt, connect with us at Grow Nebraska and we'll get you in touch with Bobby so you can have those.
Yeah, that sounds great. Come see us at our new Welcome Center. If you haven't had the chance to do that yet, we're very proud of what we put together down here at our new location, and kind of the little highlight of Kearney and Nebraska that we're able to offer now. So come see us.
Thank you so much, Bobby. We do greatly appreciate your guys' partnership and just help with our businesses here in Kearney. And we do like to feature a member as well. And so if you don't see our theme, very event and tourism themed, but our featured member is Blur Events. And they have been a member with us since 2022. They're a Nebraska-based company, and they bring unforgettable events and experiences to the Nebraska area. They just had one this last weekend called SIP Nebraska. And so they can go weddings, corporate, they have their own events they put on. They have a really great attention to detail, very creative, and they're very committed to making sure that the events they're putting on are up to par, so you have lots of fun. And so definitely, if you'd like to learn more about Stacy and the events that she puts on, just go visit blurevents.com and check them out. They have a few events coming up throughout the year that are open to the public. And now let's give a virtual warm welcome or clap to Danielle, our speaker today. We're super excited to have her speak on this topic, and Danielle, will let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see if I can get my little share screen to work here. Oh, hold on a sec. I got you on my wrong monitor. We even practiced this. Okay, let's try this again.
Well, and while that's getting pulled up, guys, we are loving that you're interacting in the chat, and there are some fun vacations that you guys are going to go on. And so be sure throughout this presentation, keep the chat going. There's going to be some interactive chat questions. And so make sure you just keep dropping them in there. And any questions that you have throughout, feel free to leave them. As as they come up, and we'll be sure to pass them along to the speaker to get them answered today.
All right. Can you guys see that?
It's still loading up on our screen here.
It says my screen share is paused. Let's see. How do I unpause? Gotta love technology, guys. Let me try one more time. While I'm figuring this out, I'd also love to know in the chat if you represent a destination that you are coming today to get some tips for, or if you are just part of a brand that you're wanting to learn some more tips for with PR. Those are kinds of things that help me to know who's joining us today. Okay, are you able to see that now?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. Okay, so from local to legendary, this presentation is focused on how to help grow events, but it can really translate to any kind of event, brand, product, service. So if you're not here to learn about events specifically, you can just kind of substitute the word and make it work for your own. A little bit about me. I'm Danielle Schlegelmilch. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm the founder of Passport Public Relations. We're a PR boutique here in Omaha, and we help our clients that are mostly in travel, food, and lifestyle spaces, but we do serve some clients kind of outside of those spaces too. We just really love to share stories. It's what I kind of explain myself as, a matchmaker between people doing really amazing things and the media. So that's kind of what PR is in a nutshell. I started Passport PR 9 years ago in November, just because I saw the need. I was at that point working with a friend who started Junkstock. I was there with her, kind of helping to ideate and get those things off the ground. And we've been able to grow that to this incredible nationally recognized event that you see today. So I'm going to share some of those tips specifically today in this presentation. But yeah, I really got my start in PR when I was in high school. I was part of a high school grant team for the state of Nebraska. We got a little under $100,000 to educate Cass County about the effects of tobacco. I don't know if anybody remembers all of those big tobacco grants that came back after everyone learned that, you know, smoking is not cool, and we need to tell everybody about the effects on everybody's body. So we did rallies, and I learned how to write press releases and commercials, and I really just got the bug of not only storytelling with journalism, but connecting with journalists and, you know, leveraging those kinds of things in bigger ways. And I went to University of Nebraska in Omaha, got a degree in journalism, PR, and advertising, and I've kind of just worked in all the different realms, from nonprofits for 10 years. I chased disasters with the American Red Cross and worked with national media like Brian Williams, Nightly News, CNN. All those things just really helped me to realize the power of storytelling and how you can help not only businesses and nonprofits, but, you know, your clients just shine. So that's kind of me. I love to connect clients not only with local media, but these national media that kind of put you on that next level. So I'm going to share some of my tips and how we do that along the way. So I'm going to have some questions that are on the bottom of some of these screens. I want you to feel free to answer them in the chat. And I'm going to have Tanya and Cami kind of help me pop up if you're seeing some people responding. It's a little hard for me on this screen to see the chat and do all the things. So I would love for us to be interactive during this session. So feel free, it's your chance to like plug your brand, your event, your product, whatever it is, and to you know, ask those questions live to have us to be able to answer to what fits best for you. So feel free to jump in. We'd love to kind of keep this two-way with conversation today. So the power of storytelling. You know that storytelling is really powerful, not only with your customers and the media, but, you know, the people you're serving, your partners. It builds that trust, authenticity, and those connections. And I find like my clients that are the most successful are the ones that are the most transparent, like with sharing their story, not only the good things, not only the wins and the Forbes covers, but, you know, the hard things that are happening at home with their families and how they're, you know, navigating running a business or, you know, an event with, you know, just the growing stresses of today's society. So I feel like the more transparent and authentic you can be, with your storytelling, the more that resonates not only with your customers and clients, but with the media. They just love, an underdog story. So even if it's a hard story, they love to be able to help celebrate with you when you kind of overcome that. And it can help set you apart from the competition. There's a whole lot of events, there's a whole lot of brands. So it's your personal story that really helps make that attractive to people and helps them to connect better with you. So first question of the day, what's the one key element of your brand story that you could use to attract media? So you can think about it. You can write your answers in the chat. These are just things that you should always be kind of thinking about, kind of weaving your brand story and your founder's story, if you're the founder, together, having your little elevator pitch. So if you get those opportunities, you're ready to go and you can say, yeah, this is why we're special. This is what makes us unique. These little cuties down here. This is my son August and my niece Anna at Junkstock. So throughout this presentation, you're going to kind of see like Junkstock throughout the years. And, if you're familiar with Junkstock, it's something that started very small that's grown to be very large. So the heart of it is to, connect communities with creators and makers and just have like a fun creative space. And that's kind of what was our first thing that we, could draw the media into. And over the last 14 years, it's grown into, we've won USA Today awards. We attract, the biggest food gatherings of food trucks in Omaha, over 200 local vendors. So those are the things that kind of help build with the brand story as you grow. So your story should always be evolving. So the key elements of brand storytelling, this is like what you learn in journalism school, like why now, what's the impact, and what makes it unique. So these are the kinds of things that you can frame when you're getting ready to share your brand story. Like, why does this story matter now? Newsrooms are shrinking. So if you're specifically looking to share your story with media, you really need to be strategic about your timing and when you're sharing these stories. So some magazines are working on their winter issues right now. So you really need to know, okay, if I'm pitching something that's related to holidays, I pitch that in the, late spring, early summer. TV, they're very short on their timeline. They need to just be able to get out there and get stuff done with breaking news. So knowing your timeline is really good to be able to pitch, and knowing what kind of value it's adding, because newsrooms, directors, producers, they want to know like, okay, what's this gonna mean for my viewer, my listener, my reader? So kind of preparing all these things in advance so that you can frame your brand along with these things that the media are looking for. And one of the most important things is like, what makes you unique? What makes you stand out? With Junkstock, it was, started as a little dream on a old dairy farm in West Omaha, and it's grown into this like destination for not only like people who love unique, funky things, but for vendors and small businesses. So just being able to think of how you're framing these stories with these elements is very helpful when you're going into creating a strategy. And sometimes you got to get real creative. This is one of my favorite examples of something we did. This was a few years ago, and Junkstock had been around for a while, and the media are very loyal to coming and covering us. But they ask, well, what's new this year? What are you doing that's different? There's only so many times you can do the same thing and get the media to come out. So the spring of this year, I'm trying to remember what year this was. I think 2017 possibly. We planned tiny pop-up weddings. We had so many people who asked to get married at Junkstock. People have gotten engaged at Junkstock. They're just like so many people that it's just a huge part of their life. So we decided to offer tiny weddings where we had a pastor. We put together a little reception. It was just this very unique opportunity for people to either redo their vows, get married. We just had a few couples that we offered this to, but it was a huge win, not only for those people and their experiences, but for the media. They loved this story. It was a cover of a living newspaper for Omaha World Herald with lots of great coverage. Just such a good, heartwarming story that we love to create those moments and then invite the media along with us for those. So expanding your PR to reach your audience. We're going to leverage all the things that we're working on to build that foundation. First, with our local media. So maybe you have like a big dream and you want to be, a USA Today top event, or you want to be on Travel Channel. You have all these big dreams. Well, I always recommend to my clients with starting local. It's really the easiest way to like connect people with your story. And you don't have to have a big fancy media monitoring database like we use at my agency. You can easily go to your local news pages, like type in like Pure, Nebraska. You can see, John and Taryn Vanderford, they're, the host. You can find their emails, and you can easily just find who you want to go and connect with on there. Email them directly, share your story, your ideas with them. And local media just love to share local stories. So I always recommend starting there. It kind of lays the breadcrumbs to bigger national media too. So when they search you, they'll be able to go and see, okay, I see these local features or articles that have been written about this brand before, and they're more receptive to helping you to kind of tell that story on the next level. I also recommend setting up like Google alerts. So anytime your brand's mentioned, your name, your brand name, it's a free service through Google. Just go to Google Alerts on Google and you'll find it. So you can track things. So sometimes you'll see like over here, there's a story right here from Hawaii News Now. Well, Junkstock did not happen in Hawaii, but all these local affiliates share their stories with other affiliates across the country. So it's not unusual for local stories to get picked up and shared across the country or the world even. So I always recommend having like alert setups so that when you do have stories that run, you can find them and reshare them, which is great. And working with influencers. These are some of our favorite Nebraska influencers. If you know people in your town that have people who follow them or look to them kind of as a tastemakers, invite them along. Some influencers are really, next level, and they have agents and managers, and you have to go through this whole thing and contracts and paying. But a lot of our like local micro influencers are just as wonderful. You can get a really great authentic experience of them sharing them with their followers, coming to your event or your storefront, enjoying your product. So we just encourage you to look and see who might genuinely enjoy being involved with your brand and inviting them to be part of it. Sometimes it just takes just a little message on Instagram offering free tickets. Sometimes we would offer influencers from out of town to come. And I mean, there's a whole slew of opportunities that you can do just by partnering with local people who will ambassador your brand for you. We also recommend partnering with TV outlets when they want to come. So there's opportunities. I know with Visit Nebraska, they love to hear our local stories and see what we're doing. And Jen and her team are always willing to work with us. So if you have a great event, you want to get some influencers or national travel reporters out, they'll help sometimes pick up the tab, which is wonderful. So knowing that that's a resource to reach out to them when you have opportunities for media who want to come, but you personally maybe can't, take the expense of paying for their flight or their hotel, there are opportunities to do that. And event partnership. So this is something that I always recommend. When can you work together with like-minded brands or, tourism? We love our Visit Nebraska. We love our Visit Omaha. We always love to do giveaways when we can offer things that are beneficial to both people's audiences. That's a win-win. So if you can put together giveaways and kind of do those things to help nurture each other's audiences and cross-pollinate and help each other out, that's a big win. And just knowing that people really do want to see you win, so that just working together, we're always better together. So thinking of ways you can include others into your strategy is always a really powerful thing to do.
Danielle, I
Yeah.
did get a question. What was the previous resource you mentioned?
Google Alerts. Does that sound right? Sorry, I can't see the chat. I don't know where it went. It's basically
I think it was maybe about the partnerships with the influencers.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my throat's kind of like scratchy throat. Okay, so influencers, like if you're looking for someone that could help bring out of town influencers or help cover hotels and flights, we work with Visit Nebraska. I don't know if that's who you're referring to, with Jen over at Visit Nebraska. They're great. And even your local tourism boards, like I know Visit Omaha host influencers, and they host media also. So just reaching out to your local tourism folks to see like what their strategy is and how you might be able to put your event or your product as part of that. That's always a win-win. If that's not the right tool, let me know. So I'd love to know, the next question is, what PR strategies have you tried to expand your event's destination reach? And like if you've tried things and they've worked or haven't worked, I'd love to just kind of like help offer my insights too during the call if you have any questions. And a few more comments about that. This is one of our Junkstock vendors who actually got a Junkstock tattoo. So I mean, that's like the ultimate brand ambassador. Most people don't get brands tattooed on them, but just knowing that people love your story so much and your brand that they make it a permanent part of them, that's like definitely a story that we shared. I've had some really great stories about Junkstock over the years too, which we'll share more of those down the road. All right. So building relationships with media. I might have to cough for a second, excuse me. Sorry guys, my allergies are going crazy right now. Okay. Do we have any other questions in the chat?
At this time, we don't have any other questions.
Okay. Trying to get my voice back. So building relationships, it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Like I mentioned earlier, you can just easily look and see who's reporting your local stories. Check them out, find them on social media, connect with them. Just start those relationships, whatever feels organic and kind of natural to you. The media get a lot of requests and a lot of emails, so like trying to get creative and personalized messages, that really pays off. And you also want to make sure that you're picking journalists that align with your brand, that kind of cover the similar kinds of stories. Like you don't want to reach out to a sports reporter or a meteorologist necessarily, but look for people that feel like it's a good fit for them personally, that they might enjoy to be part of the brand. Reach out to them. Okay, sorry, my voice is really going here. Okay, so personalized messaging, this is important. I know a lot of times people want to get an email list and they just want to BCC everybody on it, blast them out. That pray and spray generally doesn't work. We want you to be able to like make these personal connections and relationships with the reporters that you're pitching and be really intentional about your outreach. And don't be afraid to follow up. Sometimes they have hundreds of emails they're getting every single day. So you just want to make sure that you like gently remind them that you have an idea and they'd love to work together. So this question, I'd love to know, have any of you worked with your local media outlets or influencers, and how has that worked before? Do we have any examples coming up in the chat?
Daniel, Cami and I did have a question. If there's like a
Yeah.
small event that's just starting out, it's maybe like their first or second year, when should you start building the relationships with the media? Should you start prior to this event even being a thing? Or, I know like if you're kind of behind, it's always good to just do it now, but is there kind of some advice on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of event planners, we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. I know you want to do something, you want to do it quickly. So sometimes you don't have a big runway to like build a long relationship. That's okay. So I feel like just kind of going at the pace that feels right to you. If you know you're going to do an event next year, definitely sorry, start laying those seeds now, kind of nurturing that relationship. So it doesn't seem like you're just out of the blue asking for something, but that's a great question.
And a follow-up to that, is there ever a good indication of when you should like reach out to larger news outlets?
Let's see. If you feel like it's very unique, that's always a good time. But if it's like something that feels like it's not, I don't know, something that would get a national headline, maybe just waiting until you can grow that to be the next level. Because sometimes national reporters, they're just so over inundated with emails and pitches and messages that it has to be like a really unique personal story or business story to even kind of make it worth their time to respond to you. So just like knowing up front, it's okay if you don't hear from someone for a while. If you're pitching national media, that's totally normal. It takes quite a while to nurture those relationships. And then one of these pictures here I wanted to talk about, Junkstock was hit by a massive flood a few years ago and then a tornado last year. So it's these things where relationships I had built during my Red Cross days kind of circled back. It was kind of full circle. This is a reporter from the Weather Channel who happened to be in Omaha covering the floods, and we were able to help connect them. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here. With the founder of Junkstock's farm to help get the story about how people could help with the recovery process. So it's really nice when you have those relationships that you can kind of come back to. Okay, so we all want that top high profile press coverage, and this is kind of my tips to how you can get that. Like we've been talking about, you want that compelling pitch, and it needs to be short, like 200 words or less. These reporters I've heard, even locally, get hundreds of emails every day. Propose a headline, like what would you see them leading with to try and get this in their publication? So that's something we love to do. Kind of just hand them everything they need on a silver platter. Like, here's why it's important, here's why it's unique, the details on when it's happening. Target your media list to make sure that it's the right people at the right time, like we talked about earlier. You don't want to pitch things so far in advance for like a TV station that it gets lost in the shuffle. Weekends are shorter staffed in newsrooms, so just knowing like if you have a weekend event to start pitching earlier in the week, and just to know that that's pretty normal to have one photographer or two over the weekend. So you kind of just play it by ear and see who can show up. Follow up with them, offer additional things. So if you've gathered pictures over the years, B-roll, like video, quotes, any of those things that can help them build a story faster, that's perfect. They love that. We have drives and drives and drives of photos and videos, and they've come in so handy when newsrooms are short staffed. You can just offer those things, give them your photo permission, and they're off to the races, and they can just do a beautiful story with assets that you provided, which is kind of a win-win. And then leveraging, once you get these stories, that's kind of the most important thing, is what you do after that. So don't just let it sit on the news site or in the newspaper. You should be able to take those things and reuse them like a dozen ways. I have a tip sheet that I always share with my clients. Like, make sure you're posting on your social, of course, but pull quotes from it and reshare it. Share a picture, share the link, tag the reporter, tag the outlet, put it on your blog, put it in your newsletter. There's so many ways that you can use these things to help you be able to not only like share your story farther, but to secure more media, because it helps just to kind of start that momentum, and it keeps the story going even months after the article runs. You can definitely keep sharing those things. Make sure they're on your website, and that you're not afraid to share them. Are there certain media outlets that you like kind of dream of having your client or your business featured in? I'd love to hear those. If you have those, you can drop those in the chat too. This is a fun screen. So we've had so much love for Junkstock over the years. It's been pretty incredible to start with, 20 vendors on an old South, cattle farm and dairy farm, and to see it grow into people just, they have it on their bucket list to come to Omaha to visit Junkstock. We've been in multiple magazines. Midwest Living is one of our favorite. They're such great supporters. If you have a event in Nebraska, I definitely recommend reaching out to them. And I'd love to connect with you guys after the call. If you do have events and you'd love to make those connections, I'd be happy to help introduce you. We've had Southwest Magazine, Country Living. They've actually sent an editor to Junkstock. It's just so fun to get to see people and connect the dots and hear about, their stories, and how we're able to help each other out.
Sorry, Danielle. We have another question from the
No, good. I love it.
Do you have to pay to get in those like publications, or is it maybe a mix?
Okay, so everything I'm teaching here in the session it's all earned. So that's meaning you're not paying for it. There's paid media and there's earned media. I do kind of a mix for clients, but the majority of what we like to do is earned. So we share these stories and they run for free in the publications. Sometimes clients like to do advertising, and that's kind of paid or sponsored content, but all these tips I'm sharing should be able to get you a free story without paying. But as newsrooms are changing and shifting, it can be harder to get free stories, and sometimes you'll get opportunities that appear to be free and they're not free. So I always just encourage people to do their homework. If you get like an offer randomly emailed to you, like, we're looking for features for Forbes or Cosmo, all these top tier publications, and it seems like it's a little too good to be true. Most of the times it is. Sometimes it's just like a sneaky agency trying to get you to pay essentially for them to pitch you. So these are earned opportunities. But if you'd like to talk more about sponsored opportunities or paid content, that's kind of like another thing. I can happily share those resources too after the call. Another great thing that you can do to kind of like level up your credibility is to enter industry awards. So sometimes it's entering, like the tourism awards, our local awards. You'll see Junkstock got an award from Visit Nebraska down here 2 years ago. All these things matter, and you can leverage them to help your event or your brand to grow. So you'll see examples here. There's media, and they're constantly looking for like the coolest, newest things to go to and attend. So a lot of these are just story opportunities that we saw media were working on, and we nominated Junkstock, or we put them in like connection with them. So USA Today, this is probably one of the biggest honors that Junkstock got, but on a regular basis, they're listed in Midwest Living and Apartment Therapy, USA Today. So all these things you dream of, you just need to kind of be proactive and think, okay, every spring or fall, there's usually festivals happening. So how can you get ahead of that? Go and Google like these previous written stories. You can reach out to these reporters and ask if they're going to do updates on the stories, or if they're planning to do new lists, just to include you, to invite them to come along and experience it. Those are easy ways that you can kind of get your customer event. All these things work for gift guides too. So if you have an actual product, look for product guides and see where you can kind of connect the dots for events, all the best, destination list, all these things. Just help you to be able to be recognized, and it's great for your credibility to be able to like take it to the next level when you're looking for these media stories. You can say, hey, we were just at 10 Best, and this is a great event for you to come to. And it helps you if you have these high profile stories to just boost partnerships too. So if you're looking to maybe get more funding or have more people come to your event and you're looking to expand, these things all help to kind of build that credibility up for you. I'm curious too if any of you on the call have applied for these awards, if you've won them, and if that's been able to impact your event and destination. I know it's definitely helped Junkstock, and we can use that to help leverage the next award. So yeah, if there's anybody that has things, keep going on in the chat, and hopefully you'll be inspired to at least Google like a awards list that you should be nominating yourselves for. So here's an example of what we did with USA Today 10 Best when we won it. It was a big deal. So of course we put it on social. We had it pinned on Instagram for quite a while. This post got over 51,000 views, and then we put it on, you'll see on the top of the website at Junkstock. We always list like, this is a little pop-up banner, all the credentials, like where we've been. People can click on that, and then we have a media page. You can see examples, so people can really like get a feel about what Junkstock is before they even step a foot on the farm. And then like on Instagram, you'll still see on the bio, it's a USA Today 10 Best Festivals. So just being creative about where you're sharing that, leveraging it to like your next big thing. It really is social proof, and it gives people that confidence to buy a ticket, buy a product, to interact with your brand. And it's not something that you have to have fancy tools to be able to track. You can do those Google alerts to be able to see when your stories come, or you can just go directly on those news pages and search for your name or your brand. That'll bring them up. Sometimes Google alerts misses things, so just knowing That's pretty normal. We have a spreadsheet and tools with my team where if we're reaching out to a reporter, we'll say like what we're doing, when we're doing it, and then like follow up, and then we'll know like when it runs. So you can keep Google, sheets, docs, all the things to organize your results and then leverage those. So like if you have partnerships or, if you're wanting to do a new event, you can like use all these things to kind of help be like proof for your success. And then turning all those things into post. I know social media can be a huge thing for small businesses to try and keep up with. And you're like, what am I going to post about today? So each of those posts can be like repieced and kind of retooled to feed your content calendar for weeks to come. And yeah, it's just a great win. And I always recommend tagging the outlet and tagging the reporter because a lot of them I hear from, sometimes they'll, work really hard on the story and they won't get any feedback back from their readers. So they just love that. It's kind of a pat on the back and helps them to want to work with you again. And we found once you have, a great article with a reporter, they're more likely to work with you again if you become a great source and a great partner for them. So just giving them those kudos too really helps in the long run. And I'm curious if any of you have kind of tracked your media, how you're doing that, if you're using Google Alerts or if you have other tools. Our agency uses a tool called Muckrack and it can be pretty pricey, but with all of our clients, we can kind of share those expenses. But it is really important to at least have Google Alerts set for your name, your founders, your leaders, brand. All those things will help you keep track of mentions across the internet. So here's a case study for Junkstock. It's kind of hard. I didn't keep track of our numbers in the early days. And I didn't have access to tools like Muckrack until later in our agency's career where we could afford it. So I think we've had over 300 stories since we started in 2012, which is crazy. The advertising value of that, like if you go and buy ads with the same placements, it's over $10 million, which is mind-boggling. And that credibility has also helped, grow this event from, a couple thousand to tens of thousands of people who come each year. It's helped win awards, and all these mentions like we talked about earlier. So it's just been such a fun ride to get to see Junkstock grow over the years. Here's me and my kids a few years ago. That's the other thing we love about local events is that it's like a family affair, and the vendors and all the people you meet, they're your family also. So leveraging their stories to help tell the brand story, how you're supporting hundreds of local small business owners when you come to Junkstock and you shop with them. So just knowing that it is making a difference for people is really rewarding. So some takeaways, next steps. We've kind of talked about this, but having your brand story ready, knowing your 3 elements, timeliness, impact, and uniqueness. Working with local media to kind of grow that to the next level for national media. Taking care of those relationships. You really want to thank reporters when they do the stories, keep them engaged even when you're not reaching out for stories, just, acknowledging that they'd had a great recent story, following them on social media and commenting. It really does help to nurture those relationships. And also seek industry recognition. If you're working hard and doing really cool things, let's, take it to the next level and enter awards. I know it's kind of the last thing you want to do as a small business owner, but it really can help take your business to the next level to win some of those recognitions. So here's your homework. I'd love for you to think in the next 30 days how you could apply just one of these action items to your brand's strategy. Kind of write that down. You can think about it even after the call, but just really think about how you can take a small action that will help be able to propel your business maybe to that next level. I'd love to take some questions if anybody had questions either earlier or has some now.
I know a few people are wanting your contact info, so I did share your email in the chat with everyone.
I think that Here it is. So here's my contact information too. If people want to connect. Do we have any other questions? And people can email me afterwards too. If you think of something later.
Not seeing any question. Oh, okay, we got one. um, can you give them another example of the takeaway specifically for like the impact?
The impact. Okay, so like based on this element, maybe the impact element. If this is not what you're wanting, correct me in the chat, but so that would be like the impact of what your business event service is having. So when you're pitching, you can say, for example, okay, so Junkstock's going to be, coming up in the fall, and it's going to be impacting not only local people who want to come and have a fun family event, but also small business owners. So you go from like the economic development angle, the impact that it's having. You could go from the impact of I don't know. You can just kind of look for each niche, like how it's helping to grow small businesses, how it's like the next big trend. So something that is able to connect the dots for the reporters, and they know, okay, this is why this matters now. And this is kind of the takeaway for readers or their audience. Did that work? If that's not the example they were looking for, I can.
Yes, that was perfect. We have another question. How did you overcome roadblocks to receiving the type of positive press you were looking for?
Yeah, it's hard being in PR because you put your heart and soul into like sharing a story, and sometimes, well, most of the times you have zero control over if it actually gets picked up and where the story goes. So like I think my biggest tip is just to be persistent. And I've had reporters tell me that, like, thank you for continuing to bring this to us, even though it wasn't the right time at one point. It was the right time the next time, and we end up getting like the cover of a magazine or the cover of, the newspaper. So it's just like continuing to work and be honest with reporters. I know like local news is just shrinking. As a journalism student, it's really hard for me to see that. I know the World Herald is, I think, down to just 8 reporters that are writing news for our region, and it's like a lot of news for them to cover with 8 people. So me just like checking in with them, like to see, after I saw the layoffs, like checking in with my reporters, like, how are you doing? Are you guys okay? Can I do anything to like help support you? And then, giving them some peace and time, and then just being persistent with my story ideas and offering them extra tools. Sometimes it's just like a manpower issue. Like if I can offer pictures and captions and quotes and put together a little story for them. The World Herald started to run shorts where they'll take submitted pieces. So just kind of pivoting, being creative, and being persistent, and giving them the tools they need, even if they can't send a photographer or a videographer. Those are just kind of my tips on like how to continue to push for your story when the storytellers can't physically do the stories themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have another question. How do you handle a situation where the media is reporting things incorrectly?
That's always a fun one. When I worked at the Red Cross, I was like, crisis communications, and that I learned is not my favorite place to be, because there's things happening and things get corrected and, reported incorrectly. And media moves so fast that sometimes you can get a correction. You can ask for them to update something if it's like just, something that's factually incorrect. If it's something that you think you didn't say and there's like not a transcript, sometimes you just have to let those go. I've been quoted in stories where I'm like, I don't feel like I said that, but it's sometimes you can't ask them to change their stories. If it's something like a typo or something that's just factually not correct, you can. Sometimes I've had stories they've taken completely different angles. I've pitched one angle back when I worked at the Red Cross of, how to prepare for winter storms, having, disaster kits, and then it turned into National Weather Service versus Red Cross, who's right, but they didn't tell us they were doing that. So just being really transparent with reporters when they're coming, like maybe just confirming, like, what is the angle you think you're going to go for this story? Is there additional resources I can offer? Sometimes I want to talk to different sources, like I know, like for some of the bigger names, they need like 3 sources for a story. So asking how we could help them like further source the story out if we have contacts, or we can connect them with a vendor or a maker or a restaurant, that's going to be a great fit for this story. So just trying to get ahead of things as much as I can, which is impossible. Sometimes things just shift, and then the news director wants, a harder hitting story, and they lead with the traffic issue and Junkstocks, blocked all Dodge Street, and it turns into sometimes a not positive story. So then you do a follow-up story, hopefully, to kind of say how you've been able to improve and to correct whatever the issue was in the first story. So it's just, reporters want to tell the story right. And if it's not, correct, they want to know. But sometimes the newsrooms take a harder hit on like the story than you want. Some of those you just have to kind of deal with and maybe position like in a new way to get a follow-up story.
So they said that was helpful, so thank you.
Yeah, that's been great advice.
Yeah.
And I do have a special giveaway that I was going to do today. I know a lot of people probably have questions after this, or they are like curious about how PR could work for their personal brand or business. So I'm going to do a giveaway. If you want to scan that QR code or go to the link on the bottom, you can enter to get a 30-minute consultation. And then I also have a tip sheet on our website right now, so you can go and download that for free. And I have a special offer too. So just like a great way for you to kind of dip your toe into the PR pool if you haven't, had anyone on your team dedicated to do that. This is a great way to kind of have some more tools in your toolbox to do it personally. And if your brand's at the level where you're looking for a PR partner, my team, we love to do that. We come alongside people. Some of our clients actually have PR teams, but they don't specialize in national media or some of the niches that we've kind of like gotten some really great connections over the last 20 years with. So we just love to come alongside, especially Nebraska businesses. We're here and we love supporting our local small businesses. So this is a great way where you can test it out. And if you have capacity on your team, you can delegate things for people to maybe start reaching out to your local reporters. Or if you're to the point and you have a budget for PR, my team would love to be your partner and to be able to go to bat for you to help get you in some of those top tier media that are a little bit harder to reach, but not impossible. So we hope that we'll have some people at least utilize these tools that they've learned today to be able to get some more Nebraska businesses in the news. And there's my contact information once again. I'd love to connect with you guys all on LinkedIn. We share a lot of our client stories on our Instagram and our LinkedIn. So it's a great way to get examples too, like real life case studies of how we're doing things for our clients in the moment. So feel free. I feel like you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we're here to share. I think that's the biggest thing. We're always better together. So any way that we can support you, we'd love to do that.
Well, thank you so much. We have really enjoyed this session, and we too look forward to seeing all the Nebraska businesses hit news and continue to grow in what news channels they hit. I definitely have learned a great deal about the earned media tips, and just it's good to know to encourage us to be persistent. I think that was a great tip, because I think you could get so discouraged quickly when they don't pick it up, but to be persistent. We will have a follow-up go out to all of the registrants on this, so be looking. We'll also include the recording from today. And then we would love to see everyone back again on May 22nd to when we discuss 3 things to start doing and 1 thing to stop. That's going to be a wonderful session. That you're not going to want to miss that one either. Same place, same time. just a different date. And then if you haven't heard, UPCs, there's a big change coming down the pipeline, and we're going to kind of let you know what to expect with that. And so join us on June 19th as our expert Roy Noren kind of lets us know what to anticipate and how you can be proactive so that when that deadline hits, it sounds like it's a long ways away, but it's going to be here before we know it. So we have 2 great webinars on the way after this one today. So please mark your calendars and get registered. And then again, thank you for joining our training. If you have any questions, reach out to us, or if you have any additional follow-up questions from today that you've thought of, feel free to let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So have a great day, and thank you again, Danielle. It was a wonderful session.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.